Proceed property first launched in 2023 and they're already flying. But in this episode, we dig into how they can boost conversions, charge more to sellers, attract more landlords, and truly stand out in a crowded market. If you're serious about growing your agency, this one's a must listen. Hope you enjoy it. We've got a first on the podcast today. So I've got three people on the podcast who all work within one business. So I'm very much outnumbered today. So welcome to the podcast, Emily, Alex, and Harry. So Alex, give us a background on the business you've got at the moment.
Oh, thank you, Chris. It's good to be here. Um, so yeah, obviously me, Harry, and Emily were Proceed Property. We set up in 2023. In terms of this background for us, me and Harry have been sort of best friends pretty much since school. And then we decided to, we sort of worked for Countrywide Connells, and then just kind of got a little bit fed up of the way that things were. So we left, came out for a little bit, and then just decided to set up on our own. And then in March of this year, we brought on Emily for the letting side of the business.
Great, excellent. And I mean, you guys are obviously young and ambitious. I mean, it feels slightly old saying this. How old are you guys? Obviously, you're young guys to have your own business, which I love to see. So, how old are you both?
Yeah, I'm 26.
Oh, God, I feel old. I feel like at 39 years old, I might as well be 18 at this point. So, well done you, mate. Huge congratulations to you guys to kind of putting a stake in the sand and kind of going for it. So, well done you. Good. So, since 2023, how's it gone? Good, bad, ugly? What's been happening? Harry?
Yeah, it's been really good. Our first year was the hardest year I think of mine and Alex's life. It was a really, really, really tough time. I think I don't know the exact numbers, but we had a really low stockpile for first year. Tried to work remotely for that year as well, which trying to break into an in-market when no one has a clue who you are, because obviously we worked mainly in Bristol, so doing it in our hometown of Chepstow, no one knew who we were. So that was a real challenge. We opened the office then in October 2024, I think it was. And that's when, because everyone was telling us not to open an office, right? And that was always the advice. You don't need the overheads. It's been the biggest return on investment I think we've had in terms of marketing, the lowest cost and the highest returns. So it was the best thing we ever did. And it's spiraled quite quickly this year, which is good.
Good, excellent. And so, Emily, how has things been going lettings wise? The portfolio been growing, or what's been the vibe?
Yeah, it's definitely been growing. So I literally started 1st of March. Luckily, Harry and Alex already had a couple of landlord leads sort of lined up for me because they had been chatting around Chepstow. So at least I had a couple to start with. And from there, it's just gone up and up. So Chepstow's quite a small town. It's a small town where everyone knows everyone. So we've managed to get quite a few like referrals and, people just mentioning our name. It's really helped that Alex and Harry were already quite established. So that's really helped me. But yeah, it's been growing and growing and our name's starting to get around there. So I'm really
Good.
happy with that.
Well, let's see if we can sort of supercharge that, shall we? So, let's start with some figures. So, Alex, let's kind of lift up the hood slightly, very American sounding, of your business. Give me some stats with regard to sort of, number of market appraisals, instructions, sort of how we're looking on that side.
Yeah, so since February, we've done 108 market appraisals, which has given us 57 instructions. And then off the back of those, we've sold 40 properties and 16 have completed so far.
Cool, good, good figures. And what's your sort of number one lead source at the moment? So you mentioned obviously 108 market appraisals coming in so far. What would be the one bit of marketing you're like, we're not getting rid of that, guys? That's like going to the grave with us.
For us, I'd say it's probably letters. So we started off with canvassing, but it was very generic and that's very, very similar to every other agent that drops on everybody's doors. So yeah, letters for us, biggest ROI.
And Harry, would you say that the business at the moment is supply or demand restricted? What's holding you back? Is it that you guys can't accommodate any more clients to deal with at the moment? You think, oh my God, we're 10 out of 10 busy and there's no more sort of space in the business currently? Or is it a case you think you could deal with more people, but you just don't have them kind of phoning your business currently?
Yeah, I mean, if you asked us that a month or two ago, we would have said we are overwhelmed. But we then brought on a trainee, Sam, who's been absolutely smashing it, to be fair. We've had a bit of a job reallocation within the company as well to make things move a bit more sort of smoothly. So I'd say for us, the biggest thing that we need more of is consistency on instructions. And the change of job role should help us, to clear that pipeline that we've built quite quickly now. So it really needs to start turning over. and the sales should keep coming in off the back of the higher instruction rate. But yeah, for us, consistent instructions is probably the biggest focus for us.
Cool. Well, if we look at sort of a high level view on your business straight away, so 108 market appraisals, to 57 instructions, your instruction rate there is just over 50%, which is fine. I mean, it's not set in the world of place, but it's solid, like really, really good figures. Your sales rate is 70%. That's really, really good. So big high five on that side of things. So let's just first look at how we can improve our market appraisal to instruction ratio. So talk me through. I phone up your office. I get one of your letters, and I go, "Great guy, got your letter, fantastic. Harry, Alex, Emily, can you come and value my property?" But talk me through the process. What happens after that?
So we're quite thorough on our sort of what we call an MA call. We're quite thorough in terms of how we do it. So we'll understand sort of the key things are, the situation, what sort of valuation is this? Is it probate, remortgage? Are you actually going to put this on the market? Sort of a conversation to be had. So once we do that, we'll get a full breakdown of everything to do with the house, when they bought it, what they paid, which we can already check. But the longer I'm on the call with this person, in my eyes, the better, because there's more time to book, of course. So um, I'll chat with them for ages about that sort of stuff, what sort of work they've done since. The key thing for us is sort of their expectations on value as well. So what are you really, expecting? What do you think it's worth? We really try and avoid putting the phone down until we've got some sort of ballpark number from them in terms of what they're expecting price wise. Because it sets the tone for the valuation. Sometimes they're way out in either direction. So yeah, we really want to understand that. And then yeah, Alex is the lister, I suppose. You'd say. So Alex will go out and do the valuation. I'd say Alex is really thorough on valuations. I mean, he's there for absolutely ages, so he must be very good. And his conversion's been really, really high. So I think in terms of what we're actually, because overall, if you look at it, like 100, I think it was 16, whatever you said was the MAs, and the just over 50% on actual conversion. A lot of those have been not coming on the market,
Mhm.
because we never turn down a valuation, whether it's probate, remortgage, whatever it is. We always do it, because eventually they will come on with us, is the idea. So a lot of those do fall under that category. In terms of what we've actually lost to other agents, it's a really low number. So I'd say conversion wise, Alex is really, really good.
Yeah, fab. Okay. So a couple of things. So first of all, you're on your market appraisal call. A really nice question to ask people is, just out of interest, with the agent you picked to go on the market, what's going to be most important to you? Or what's a couple of things that are most important to you? And they'll go, it's make sure I can sell as quick as possible, or get as much money, or I want to make sure they've got amazing communication. Just put that in your back pocket. And then when it comes to the market appraisal, at the end of it, basically say, look, I know you spoke to my colleague Harry in the office, and we had a quick chat about what's really important to yourself when it comes to the agent you want to go with. You mentioned this, this, and this. Well, hopefully we've talked through communication. You've decided we've got really good communication as a business. We've talked about, getting you sold quickly. We talked about getting it on the market ASAP and doing an open date. You should get you sold very quickly. And basically kind of ticking off those boxes. People don't like to disagree with themselves. So it's a sign of weakness. So if you say, you told us you were looking for A, B, and C, and we're saying to you, we can do A, B, and C, people feel stupid then saying no to it. So ask them what they want from an agent. Then you show you've delivered that as part of being an agent. Any reason why you don't want to work with me? If you show me, you've told me what you want. I've told you that I can do what you want. So are we good to go? So there's a nice, easy sort of trick on that side. One bit we're missing out on probably quite heavily at the moment. Do you send anything between market appraisal confirmation and the market appraisal itself? So if I booked in today and you came to see me next week, do I get anything from you between those two timescales?
So yeah, just no, we send an email confirmation of the appointment. But it's something we've been toying with, is what we used to call pre-MA packs, is sending something to the door prior to the MA. We haven't usually done that as of yet, but it is something we've been talking about more recently. Yeah.
So you guys on your website, it says the only agent in Chepstow with a 5-star review. So all your reviews on kind of 5-star currently. So clearly you've got customers that are really happy with what you're doing. They're giving you 5-star reviews and high five all around. What would really sort of win over the valuation before you walk to my front door is, well, there's a good version and sort of a great version. The good version is an email to myself that has a video sales letter. Alex, you're valuing the property, so you get thrown under the bus on this one, saying, hey, it's Alex, it's myself coming to see you. Can't wait to come and see your property. I've been an estate agent now for X amount of years. I've grown up in Chepstow. This is the sort of properties we deal with. I can't wait to come and see you. See you then. I mean, words to that effect. So sort of a VSL, video sales letter, they get to know yourself first of all. What you'd also put in that is, hey, just so you know, we've actually included in this email a couple of testimonials from clients we've worked with historically, because we know the proof is in the pudding. Check those out at the bottom of this email. Look forward to seeing you very shortly. So you're kind of pushing people towards that. What can make that even better is if you've got video testimonials. So anybody who look through your 5-star reviews on Google and go, actually, Mrs. Jones would give us a testimonial. She'd jump on Zoom for 5 minutes. So I can ask her 5 questions about how great we were. She would just record it, bang it in there. Almost the rougher, the better. So what we don't want is kind of some sort of like light camera action. We just want Mrs. Jones with her phone in her hand or on Zoom sort of thing, so that we know that's a real person. It's not some sort of actress we've got in for the day or actor we've got in for the day. It's just a real person who lives in Chepstow. So that can really help on that side. The great way of doing it is obviously hand deliver that. Is to hand deliver that sort of testimonial pack, pre-market appraisal letter, scan this QR code to see some of our clients, what they've said about us, can really make your entry to the property, really soft, because they've kind of seen a video with you on already. They've seen some testimonials from you already. They've got all that going to their front door, and then you turn up for the market appraisal. So that can really make your life quite easy on that side. What about after the market appraisal? What happens? You kind of say, yeah, great, you try and close for the business, and they say, oh, I've got to go on holiday, we'll catch up when we get back, or I've got another valuation tomorrow. What sort of happens after that, Alex?
So I'll send them an email with basically everything that we discussed, along with any sort of like collateral that we take out on the MA. So we just attach that as a PDF to the email. And then following on from that, they probably get sent out the same day, if not the day after, depending on what time the valuation is. Either Harry or Sam will give her a ring the day after, just to follow up, make sure they got the email, see if they have any questions, and kind of see if they are looking to kind of go forward and get it on the market. After that, if somebody was to, like you say, to go on holiday or whichever, we're pretty good at diarising when we want to touch base with them again, and kind of following up with them on that.
Cool. So our goal is to make your service as good as possible, but also to make it as sort of frictionless as possible. So for me, excuse the mental image here, I want to be able to roll over in my pants on a Sunday morning and be like, right, I want to book the guys to take on my property next week. I don't want to have to phone you. It just seems like too much work from my side. Every time someone phones my personal mobile number, I barely answer it, because I think to myself, oh, I don't, even if my mum phoned me right now, I probably wouldn't answer it, because I'd be like, oh, I can't be asked to speak to my mum. So I've got too many things going on, haven't got time to do it. So we want to make it as frictionless as possible for you guys to not only have the valuation carried out, but also to get it followed up as well. So gold standard here is, hand delivered post-market appraisal pack, which says, here's your valuation letter, here's some comparables, here's our testimonial booklet, whatever you're going to put in there. If you would like to book in us to come and take the photographs and details of your property, scan this QR code, go through to a Calendly link, which you can then book a time in your diary, nice and easy to book in for Wednesday next week to come and do the photographs. So we're making that as sort of frictionless as possible, that all I need to do, get my phone, get my camera out, goes to your diary, Wednesday, 2:00, book. Thank you very much. And you guys are like, oh, €1 just booked in a take on for next Wednesday. That's good news. I mean, yes, you're still going to chase it, and yes, you're still going to phone them absolutely as you are at the moment, but it just means that when I'm ready, I can do it. So
I really don't see good at it.
Yep. So the gold standard there is that hand delivered. The next sort of standard down is the email side of things again, and exactly the same way you've had the VSL in the pre-market appraisal letter. I'd also have a post VSL as well, saying, hey, nice to see you earlier on. Hope you enjoyed the market appraisal. By the way, when you're ready to go on the market, there's a little link just below here. You can just click that, book in a time for us to come and take your property on the market, and we can then rock and roll from there. Yeah. Probably wouldn't use the term rock and roll, but you would, words to that effect. So you'd point in that direction. You're like, this is the process, because no one really knows what happens next. People, you're on market appraisal, and they're like, yeah, so I like what you're saying. So what now? Do you do the pictures, or do you what happens next? Well, so you guys know this because you list and value and sell properties all day long. But for the general public, they're like, so what do we do? And people are so worried about sounding or looking stupid, so they don't want to ask. So instead, we want to go, right, we're here today. Next stage is here, which is our pre-market appraisal, which got a little video for you to watch inside of it. Then we're going to turn up for the market appraisal. Next stage is this, and then you fall into this, and then we come and take your property on the market. So we're really making that as easy as possible. And also, if you're making a Calendly link for booking a take-on appointment, you might as well make that for valuations as well. So you might as well, again, make it as frictionless as possible. Put that on your social media, put it on your bios, for example, and say, look, book us for a valuation, just click this link. Because really, can I be bothered to pick up my phone and have a chat with you firsthand? Probably not. If you phone me, within a couple of hours of me putting it online and say, hey, Mr. Webb, hope you're okay. Know you booked an evaluation for Wednesday. Can I get some more details about your property and how long you lived there for and where you're looking to move to? Great. I'm all over that. Absolute place to be. So I think actually, if you change nothing really apart from what you see on the market appraisal and just put that padding around the outside of it, sort of pre-market appraisal process and post-market appraisal process, your conversion will jump up to 60% by you doing pretty much nothing. And then, thinking out loud here, when your conversion rate gets to more like 60%, I'll be thinking it's time to put the fees up. And either it's time to put the fees up in general, or it's just time to put an upfront charge up to, to kind of even your cash flow out to start things off. So, that you've got a small, easy win there that probably takes you, a couple of hours to set up. I'd imagine someone with a laptop and a can of Coke could probably do that in a couple of hours, get it all set up, job done. This is our process, guys. When we book a market appraisal, this happens, this happens, this happens. Then the market appraisal takes place. This happens, this happens. And, Emily, exactly the same thing for lettings. You've got to think to yourself, what's some of the most common questions people ask when it comes to sort of before market appraisal? You can record a VSL that says, look, these are some of the most common questions we get asked when it comes to rental valuations. So I thought I'd just ask them first of all, how long does it take to find a tenant at the moment and what should we do about these? Just get them all across. I'm your expert. This way you get to. The important part of that is that people watch the video. So when you're booking a market appraisal, say to them, we are going to send you an email very shortly with a video. I suggest you watch it before we come around to you the property. Otherwise, it's going to be really awkward because I'm going to sit down with you on your sofa and the first 2 minutes is going to be us watching a video of me. So you do me a quick favor, watch that video before we turn up. It'll be far less weird and you'll know far more about what the process is plus finding your property. So you kind of have to push people in that direction because the average person gets like 40, 50, 60 emails per day. So you need to be saying, you're going to get an email and this is what I need you to do off the back of it. So therefore, by the time you turn up, they're like, yeah, watched the video, thought it was really cool, think it's very handy, read your testimonial book, thanks very much. Right, now let's look around my property. Cool. So nice, easy, quick win for yourselves. So that is kind of your market appraisal. I think it's probably tweaked to a really good standard and kind of opens the door to a fee increase for yourselves, first of all. I would say you've got some more capacity. So talk me through kind of where you want the business to get to. Because obviously we're kind of developing the winning formula for your business. Where do you want the business to be? Is it like you want to make it into a brokerage in the future? Is it you want to take on more employed staff? Is it you want to list twice as many as you're listing at the moment? Sort of what's the goal for the future, Alex?
So, well, for this year, we want to be third on new instructions in our area. So I think we're at 5 away from that at the moment, but we've got about 5 that we've kind of got in the pipeline. So by the end of the year, we want to finish third, which I think would be a pretty good achievement considering we only opened the office in October.
Yeah.
And then longer term, we do want to open up a second office because obviously where Chepstow is, it's fairly close to Bristol. We get a lot of Bristol buyers. But we need to kind of rethink where we would look to do that in Bristol because you go too far in, the rent's really expensive, and then you're just competing on the lowest fee really. So we want to probably double the amount of what we've got at the moment. We want to really clear the pipeline because at the moment it's swollen and it's not really coming out the other end. But like Harry said at the beginning, but we changed the job roles a little bit so we can get that through now. If we want to really sort cash flow is probably the main thing out of all of that for now.
Cool. Okay. Well, there's 2 big things you've mentioned there, which I think are really important to jump into. So let's talk about the cash flow side of things first of all. What do you guys charge up front? So if I came on the market with you guys today, what are you charging me up front to come on the market with yourselves?
Yeah, see, we don't charge anything up front.
Okay, fun. How much does it cost you guys to put the property on the market? So do you get pro photographs? In fact, I know you get pro photographs, and either that you guys are really good at pictures. So you obviously do pro photographs. You take some of your time. So obviously I imagine it probably takes an hour or 2 of your time to kind of go around there and do descriptions and whether you do the floor plans or not, whatever. But it probably takes a few hours of your time. So what does it cost you to list a property? Cash value?
I'm not too sure.
It's basically when it comes to putting a property on the market, if we looked at the exact number, I couldn't tell you, but photos, anti-money laundering, and I think we did do the maths at one point, Alex, a little while ago, it's probably a bit outdated, but total cost over with all the overheads was around circa £1,000. But I think the reason that we don't charge up front is because 1, none of our competitors do. 2, our fee is already higher than our competitors.
Yep.
So if we were there to charge up front as well as having a higher fee, I reckon that would cause our conversion then to slip at this stage.
Yep.
I think until we're at a point where we're, completely credible. Yeah, and completely credible and, have a really good track record in Chepstow. I think that's when we can start looking at doing that. But for now, I think the priority needs to be getting them on the market and keeping the average fee high. That's our main sort of priority.
Yep. So I don't disagree with you. And I think that what I would look at, so let's take a nice round figure here. So let's say average fee of £5,000, for example. If we can get £500 up front and 4.5 grand at the end of it, net position, exactly the same. So, but the difference is you guys have got £500 in your pocket today rather than in like 8 months' time or whatever it takes these days to get through, which makes a massive effect to your business. So if you're listing, I don't know, let's say 4 or 5 properties a month sort of thing, great. Well, that's a couple of grand coming into our business account every single month that we normally be in a negative factor for. So that'll at least pay for your photographs and some of your time going out there. And although you're not sort of making any extra money on it, because obviously you're kind of taking from beta to pay Paul sort of thing, just coming forward slightly further in the process, actually is going to improve your cash flow dramatically. So as a golden rule, the estate agency sort of pricing and cash model is a broken system. The idea of sort of working for 6, 7, 8 months on the will that someone says, actually, guys, can't be bothered. I looked at my tea leads and it said don't move house, and therefore I decided not to do anything. Oh my God, like I've just worked forever to get this through. The further you can get yourself away from that model, the better. So even you go forward and go, look, it's £250 up front, for example, or £500 up front, whatever the number is, and that is then taken off your bill at the end of it. So net position, you're in the same position, that's fine. And the way to kind of pitch that forward is say, look, we are a fantastic estate agent. We only work with limited clients at any one time. The reason we work with limited clients at any one time, we get you the best possible result, most money, quickest timescale, whatever is important to them. Therefore, we need to make sure you are serious about selling your property. So therefore, we ask for an upfront marketing charge as a speed bump for you to work with ourselves. If you're not serious, no dramas. You don't have to pay it. You can go to Connells or Fox & Sons and they'll just list it on the market and sort of fingers crossed you sell it sort of thing. So this is seen as a barrier of entry for you to say, I'm serious about selling my property for as much money as possible or to as quick as possible, whatever's important to them. Therefore, that's there for you. Net position wise, it's no different. They're still paying 5 grand. They're just paying £500 up front. If someone came to me and what's your average house price you're selling at the moment?
Okay, 350.
Okay. So if someone came to me and said, Chris, you've got a £350,000 Lamborghini and you're looking to sell it, by the way, I need 400 quid to take some really nice pictures of it to get you as much money as possible. I'll be like, it's a 350 grand Lamborghini. Like, yeah, go nuts. But just because it's made of kind of brick and stone and patio slabs, we think to ourselves, oh yeah, no one's going to pay that. They've got, saying that it's a third of £1,000,000, it's 500 quid. Like it's not a lot of money. Like people pay £300 to put their 2 grand car on Auto Trader sort of thing. So it's not a big amount of money to do to make sure your property is correctly done. And a good way of going forward with that is to say, look, the money you put forward, it doesn't cover the marketing for your property. It is a sort of part payment. We're in partnership here. We're putting money on the line. You're putting money on the line, both to get a fantastic result for your property. If I wanted to build an extension on my house tomorrow, the first thing the builder would say is, great, I need 10 grand. Because I need to go and buy some bricks and buy some concrete and buy some wood and whatever else it may be. Doesn't mean I think he's going to run to Mexico. It's just he hasn't got 10 grand in his pocket to make it work for him. He needs to buy the sort of the materials to start off with. It's pretty much the same concept for yourselves. So I know when you've been in the sort of corporate world for a period of time, it's slightly in your head, this is kind of what we do. Promise you, if you start trying your business, you'll look back in 2, 3, 4 months' time and go, oh, God, we've made like 6 grand in the last couple of months or so. We just paid for a couple of wages, bits of salaries and staff party, whatever it may be. And yes, we're going to get 4.5 grand in 6 months' time. Great. Fantastic. We're bringing that cash forward in our business. We've got it as soon as possible. The real win and the real super kind of amazing part of this, let's say, pick some round figures here. Let's say you get £500 up front per property you bring on the market. Let's say your cost to acquire a customer is less than that. Let's say your cost to acquire a customer by sending letters out is £300. Well, congratulations, you've just discovered the infinite money glitch because it costs you £300 to find a customer and you're earning £500. So every time you find a customer, you can take £300 of that to buy your next customer, of which you get £400 from them, which you take £300 to put in to buy the next customer, and you're just taking off that £200 every single time. Because you can just pay that money, whether it's Facebook ads, letters, door knocking, leaflet dropping, whatever you want to do, that money you get up front is buying your next customer. That's all you're doing is refilling that funnel super, super quickly. So I would try it as a refundable side of the business first of all and say, look, this is what we charge up front, but you get taken off the bill at the end of it. But then I would place a bet with you that after 3, 4, 5 months or so, you'll just go, we're not going to refund it. It's just 500 quid up front, and then that gets added to the bill at the end of it. So I'll be willing to, once you get comfortable with that, that'll be the next step going forward. Cool. Right. So next thing. So we're whizzing through these today. Feels to me like if we got more market appraisals in the business, you guys would have a really strong place to be. Now, what's going to be super important is where you are looking to open up a second office at some point is to make your winning formula as a business. Because what we don't want to do is you've got a plate at the moment, you've got one plate, you're spinning really well, doing a good job, properties are coming on, properties are selling, good business, etc. What we don't want to do is then get your next plate over in Bristol and then sort of everyone drags over here and we end up with 2 broken plates on the floor. So to stop that from happening, we need to get a rock solid system and process in place for your business. And it kind of comes back to the market appraisal process. So what does our lead generation look like? What does it look like when we list a property? What does it look like when we sell a property? What happens when we complete a property? And it's just the perceived property way. When we list property, guys, we do this, 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 and this. When we sell a property, we do this, 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 and this. And literally anybody could then be put in your new office and they've almost got like a process sheet that provides what you should be doing as a business. So great, I could be your new negotiator in your Bristol office. And I could be like, great, what's the proceed property we're doing? Right, guys, to generate instructions, we do this many social media posts per week talking about this. We send this many letters to this many people who are on the market currently. We send this many leaflets out to the local area, and that will generate instructions. Great. And when we get our first instruction, what happens next? All right, well, this is what we do. We order the professional photographs, then they come back, and we upload them to our CRM system. Then we get the floor plan, put it on there as well. Then we send it off to the vendor to get details signed off. Then it comes back. Then we get a board up, and we just go through that process in anal detail. If it's just you guys, it doesn't need to be that much detail because you're like, yeah, I know how to put property pictures on, I know how to direct a board and whatever else. But as the team gets bigger, you need to accommodate for more and more sort of variables in that equation. So you almost have to presume that the next person is an idiot in the nicest possible way of putting that, even though I'm sure they're not, because you need to kind of go, yeah, add the pictures to the CRMs. That's what you should be doing. Yes, order the board. Yes, put a video on social media. You guys all know probably to do this, but they may not. So therefore, we're just limiting the variable options you've got in that. Hence why when you get a pack of peanuts, it says may contain nuts on it. Because they have to go for the lowest common denominator that someone is an idiot and they don't know what a peanut is. Okay, same thing for your business. You have to go, this is our process because this is what we do to generate instructions and sell properties. And if we can duplicate that across 1 branch, 2 branches, 3 branches, 4 branches, it's now just the way you do it. So you have to work out what your winning formula is from start to finish. Otherwise, you end up with 2 sort of half businesses rather than 2 businesses that are doing really, really well.
Yeah, this is something that we're really sort of focusing on at the moment, I would say. So, I mean, yesterday when we saying about the job role changes and things, we've been really focusing on like a strategy. In other words, what do we put in the top of the funnel for instructions to fall out the bottom? We've got somewhat of an idea now on, because we've trialed a lot of different things, what works in the market, what doesn't. We've trialed everything from VO3 AI, the Yeti speaking in videos. We tried everything, just being a bit creative with it. But so in sales, we're pretty much there now and learning what goes in and what comes out. On lettings, we're still really trying to figure that out. That's where I think lettings could use some advice on it, is how do you reach these landlords other than what we're already doing? So we're dropping letters, land regging is a recent addition, Rent Smart Wales, looking on their data to get their names, the letters more targeted. What else can we really do what else can we put in the funnel for landlords to fall out?
Okay. So, Emily, weighted question now, so I apologise in advance. Who is the lettings expert for Chepstow? If I was a landlord in Chepstow and I was like, I need some advice about what an EICR is, who would I go to? Who would I call?
I would love to say me, but I think there's one agent that's very prominent in Chepstow that's been there for like 45 years. And I think when you think of Chepstow, their name is the first thing that pops into their head. So
Cool. Well,
I'd rather
congratulations.
say their name, but there's one agent.
That's fine. Well, congratulations. Your mission is to steal their crown. Because your goal
Definitely.
is to be, I think, landlord in Chepstow or renting properties, or who's the expert in the local area. Oh, Emily's the main person for this. She lists properties, she rents out properties. Her landlords are also happy. She's doing a landlord event next week. Events are massive. Get people into a room and say, get a landlord event. Landlords know landlords, and landlords like to show off the fact they are landlords and say how many properties they've got, etc. So they like going to these things. They like networking with other landlords. It's kind of how they get to where they get to. So, you need to look at it and go, how can I become the digital mayor of lettings in Chepstow. Now, what do you like on video? Do you love video, hate video? What's your sort of vibe on that side?
We're actually getting way better at videos. At first, we just started with like property tours and just very like factual, but we are starting now to do like way more creative videos, make it a bit more fun. So the other day, I just sat in the office and just did like 5 things that to look out for in an agent, and literally just did that, took 1 or 2 takes, and we just posted it. So we're trying to just be a bit more creative. Like Harry said with our meeting yesterday on strategy, we've got a few more ideas. So like today I've started to make a blog. So we're going to start doing blog posts and sharing that. You mentioned the landlord event. Yeah, we actually thought, me and Alex have actually spoken about this, and we are going to arrange some sort of landlord event, maybe in like a pub near us or some sort of conference room. You know, the first one probably invite all the family and friends, so it looks a bit more full. But yeah, we're hoping. It was after I listened to one of to Toby Martin, and he said that he used to run the landlord event in Bath, and that no one sort of replaced him in Bath. So my thoughts are no one does that in Chepstow, so that would be great. I'll just go to more investment meetings as well, and just speak to more people.
Okay, so I'm gonna put a childish spin on this, if that's okay. And this is sometimes the way my mind works. I would think to myself, I would look at the king or queen of the Chepstow letting stuff at the moment and think, oh, they're really good. I think to myself, what would really piss them off? I'd be like, oh, if I'm at a landlord event and those people went to that, they saw a picture online of that, that would really piss them off. If I started the landlords podcast for Chepstow, that would really piss them off. If I did a newsletter that's sent out all the time about what the rental market is like in Chepstow and, tips for advice for renting out your first property, that would really piss them off. And I know it sounds really childish, but that's the way my mind works sometimes. And I would work through that and go, actually, what's really going to cement me as the expert in the local area? You need to be giving massively. I mean, lettings is a complicated subject and it's only getting more complicated. So you are very much at a position of authority. So I did a podcast a little while ago with Harry Truman, so now ex Property Mark president. And I was like, Harry, obviously you got buy to let. She's like, yeah, I don't rent it out myself. Like I've got an agent who manages that. And she's like the ex-president of Property Mark and she gets someone to manage her property. So clearly it's quite a subject where people want to get other people to do it for them. So you need to lean into that massively. And it wouldn't take a lot for you to say, guys, let's do some sort of conversation about compliance or, putting rents up. What can you do? What can you not do? What legislation is coming down the road? What do you need if you're a brand new landlord? There's, thinking out loud here, if you really want to go sky's the limit, there's, recording YouTube content on it. There's stripping the sound out of that YouTube video and making it into a podcast. There's dropping that YouTube video into things like Opus clips that will make it into like 25, 30 clips you can put on your social media. There's guides you can produce with ChatGPT and stuff that can do a lot of the heavy lifting for you as well. Obviously, you've got the events. Yeah, there's so many things you can do to say, if anyone is unlucky enough to go onto Google and type in, Chepstow lettings or rentals or whatever, it's just your face. That's really all I want to get to. I want you to write articles that goes to the Chepstow Times or paper that it goes out every 2 weeks saying, hey, Hope I've written an article for you all about the market in Chepstow and what the rental market is doing. Here's a picture of me. Here's my bio. Can you publish it for me? If you do that every 2 weeks, guarantee within a month or so, every time you send it through, they'll just publish it. And that will really piss off the king or queen of rentals currently in Chepstow, which is basically our goal on that side of things. So you need to look at it and go, what is no one else doing in my local area? I need to kind of dominate that and take over that before anyone else can do it. It's a really strong way of doing it. So you need to get it so people think about rentals, they think about you. And if I go on Google, it literally just aligns with that. So for me, anytime I've got a guest on the podcast, I'll always need to get an image for them. And I always need, obviously, for the artwork and whatever else. And if I type in so-and-so estate agent, it's very clear the ones who've got a really strong personal brand because they'll have like the first 3 pages of Google are just different pictures of them. If it's like one picture from some article 6 months ago, they're not doing so well. So your job is literally to become the most Googleable person in Chepstow when it comes to the rental side, but you're only going to get there by pumping out content. But you've got endless stuff to talk about. I mean, literally, more than sales. You've got so much stuff to talk about. It is ridiculous. So to start off with, just think of the top 20 questions you get asked on a market appraisal or what tenants ask you or what first-time landlords need to set up and just record some content off the back of it. Really ad hoc, press play on your camera, away we go. So you've got endless opportunities on that side, but it's going to take probably 3 months, 2 months before that starts to kick in. And most people give up after 6 weeks. So you need to go, right, actually, guys, my kind of difference between a good week and a bad week has gone from how many rentals we got on the market to actually a good week now is I did my podcast, I did my YouTube video, I did my blog, I did my PR piece of the paper sort of thing. I did. It's just focusing on the output, because we know that if we're pumping out that sort of content in the local area, it's just going to come back to us. It's just a matter of time before it comes through. So it's kind of turning that on its head. And you would look at that exact same thing on the sales side. What can we do to cement ourselves as the expert in the local area? And, people spend, the average person these days, and this is in your 40s and 50s, spend about 4 hours a day on their phone. So what can we do to kind of conquer their screen time as much as possible? So they're on TikTok, we're on there. You're on Instagram, we're on there. You're on YouTube Shorts, we're on there as well. You're on a podcast, we're on there as well. You're on a blog post, we're on there as well. I mean, the big thing you want to be optimizing your blog post for these days is just AI is the big thing. So run your blog post through ChatGPT and say, look, can you optimize this for AI scanning? It's GEO is the technical name for it. Bang it online so that anyone types in rental properties in Chepstow, it pulls you through as sort of the expert via ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you're using. So that's the real benefit of blogs at the moment. Okay, so really,
Good.
sky's the limit. But across the board, we've got a situation now. We've got a really solid business. So that there's the things we're talking about today. There's nothing here that is kind of earth shattering, groundbreaking. What we're doing is going, right, let's improve that by 10%. Let's improve that by 20%. Let's improve that by 5%. Let's improve that by 6%. And if you make all these little improvements and add up over time, eventually you take a step back and you're like, right, we've just 4 times the business. Because you're kind of going from you're better than most agents already, but you're going from kind of a better than other agents already to being like a league above all other agents. So that's where you're looking to be with your business, but you've got a huge opportunity ahead of you. Good guys, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I hope it's been really valuable to yourselves. Obviously you'll have to come back in the future and let us know how you get on with all these changes and implementation to your business. The great news is obviously I can stalk you from a distance and see your social medias and listings and whatever else and see how you're getting on. So thank you so much for all for coming on today.
Thanks very much.
Very much, Chris.
Chris.